Hey guys, it's Christian Gamer Jolie here. I was been debating this for a while, or for a couple days now. Of course, I went and saw The Last Jedi on Saturday, and I've been debating about doing a reaction video. I just wasn't. I was trying to let my emotions simmer or not simmer, but ponder on what I had seen and where I thought, what I thought of the movie and everything else. And something just keeps coming to me saying that I need to do this reaction video. I know that I've been reading reviews online. I've been obviously talking to different people. It seems to be a 50-50 split. Some people love the movie. Some people, or not. Sorry, let me say that. 50% love the movie. 50% absolutely do not like the movie at all. So to me, it feels like there's two camps. Either you loved it or you hated it. Well, I'm one of those that I did not like the movie. So I'm going to go and dive into the movie and explain what were the issues that I had with the movie. And hopefully then that will come clear. Hopefully it will help with people with what they're still processing or what they think. I would be interested to know what people are thinking. If you want to put in comments, keep it family friendly, obviously, that's our channel. Likes, comments, whatever you'd like to do. So, without further ado, obviously this review is going to have lots of spoilers. If you have not seen the movie, I would encourage you not to watch this yet. This is your warning. I would say that definitely you need to go into this movie regardless of what how you're going to come away from the movie. Like personally myself, if I had been given spoilers ahead of this movie, my liking of the movie would be a lot less than it was. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's parts of the movie I did like, but I felt that the movie would take me into the movie, like I'm loving it, and then something would happen and I'd be out of the movie, and I would be out of the movie for a good couple minutes, and it would, I'd get back in the movie and then I'd be right back out. So it was like this, literally like this ping pong for me, where I just kept wanting to be in the movie and gross the movie and loving the movie, and I couldn't even get emotionally connected. Honestly, the only time that I was emotionally connected to the movie was when I saw the scroll, when the text comes down. So like I said, I kind of wrote down all my notes because it was all in my head and I just needed to write it all out. So yeah, so this was your warning. From here on there will be spoilers, so that's your warning. So obviously, like I said, I went into this movie with big expectations. Wanted to see more Rey. Obviously, I wanted to see, was Finn alive? I mean, we saw the trailer, so we knew he was alive. But I wanted to know, see some stuff, and there was parts in the movie where some of the humor was appropriate. All Star Wars has got humor in it, but to me, I've never had a Star Wars movie where the humor was forced. I mean, I almost felt like there needed to be a like the sitcom humor where there's a live audience where they have the forced, cards to laugh now. That's what I felt like I was like that at that moment. My inside, I was cringing, and I felt like, that like the movie's telling me, okay, I'm supposed to laugh now. I mean, there was a few times, I'll be honest, there was times I laughed in the movie. One of the funny parts was when Finn wakes up. I mean, that was funny to me. So obviously I wanted to see that. I wanted to see Luke train Rey. I'm going to go into more in depth, but briefly on that one, that was a big letdown to me. Okay, I'll give you 3 lessons, really. I mean, Luke learned from the Master Yoda, and, Qui-Gon wanted to teach Anakin. Obi-Wan taught Anakin, and, it felt like Rian Johnson was taking a very bold direction and where he wanted to lead the trilogy, and I think I would have felt better with that if this was the first movie, but this is not the first movie. This was the next. Force Awakens was the first one to set the whole tone of the next 2 movies, and for Rian Johnson to say, okay, I'm going to totally obliviate everything the Force Awakens where Force Awakens was directing the movie to, and say, okay, well, it's going to be totally different than that. It's like, okay, well, some people loved it and some people didn't, and you took a chance. And I just fear for the next movie, because what is Abrams I mean, he's basically got this in his lap, and this is where he's got to go. So he's got to come up with a vision of what Ryan Johnson did, and he's got to take that vision and try to make a movie out of it. So it really scares me on the next movie, guys. It really honestly does. I'm more looking forward to Solo than I'm actually the next movie. And I'll be honest with you guys, the Ultimate Trilogy with Ryan Johnson being the director of the next, ones after this one, after episode 9, I don't know if I can actually go to the theater and watch those. Just with the way he did this. Now, maybe if he, learns from this. I mean, and again, some people love it, some people hate it. So it's all on perspective. And honestly, I mean, for me, it's what I felt, what I feel. And, as you can see, I'm a diehard Star Wars fan. I got R2-D2. You guys can't see it, but I got the Coke cans up there, the Pepsi cans. I've got all the glasses. I've got over 300 figures. So I'm a huge fan. But this one just didn't do anything for me. And it honestly, the whole day on Saturday was just a letdown for me. So obviously, when we're talking about expectations, will Kylo Ren turn? Are we going to see another battle with Rey and Kylo Ren? Well, no, we saw them talking back and forth to each other. So that was interesting, I guess. I felt that was kind of like a way of, well, we got to keep the story going with all these subplots. So we'll have Snoke's mind meld them together, which mind melding in Star Wars, isn't that a kind of a Spock and Kirk thing? Anyway, I won't get too far into that. So, like I said, I really went into this movie with a high expectation, and I really wanted it to blow Force Awakens out of the way, or out of the water, be like above Force Awakens. But I left this movie saying, this is the worst Star Wars movie. And before anybody says, okay, well, I'm just a mad Star Wars fan, I didn't get it my way, it's not the way I projected things. Well, I went into this movie looking at it as a Star Wars fan and as a moviegoer. So I try to be objective in what I'm reviewing and how I'm looking at everything. So there were so many expectations, and I just felt that the problem is Star Wars has a general direction of everything when George Lucas gave it, and even further, even in Force Awakens, when things were set in stone or set to lead up to the next movie. We had Rey. I'll just jump into it, but I'm gonna be jumping into all the characters later. But with Rey and Finn, in the beginning of Force Awakens, she kept yelling at him to stop holding her hand. They kind of led a whole thing there where Finn and Rey were kind of like might potentially love each other or get in a relationship, that kind of thing. But then we just have this random Rose, which, I mean, she was an okay character, but she's just a random person, and I understand her sister was one of the pilots, so that makes sense. But for her just to randomly see Poe, or to see Finn, and then, she's madly in love with him, it didn't connect with me. It seemed odd. So I just feel that Ryan Johnson is taking it in a different direction, and that's a bold move, but I don't think it's the right move for Star Wars. And I understand we got, characters have to move on, characters get older, but that's fine, but I don't think this was the right move to kill off all the main characters. And we'll dive into it really quickly, but the whole part of Luke's persona, of how his character interacted with Rey the first time, when she hands him the lightsaber, that whole moment was led up in Force Awakens. And the whole thing of Luke looking at it and then throwing his lightsaber over his shoulder. Luke would never throw a lightsaber. I mean, it's just not Luke. Luke was set up as a character that cared about the Force. He cared about, we'll even go, okay, let's dive into the whole issue about Luke and Ben. Okay, the whole point of Luke saw Ben as being potentially bad, so then he thought he had to kill him. Okay, well that doesn't even make sense. In Return of the Jedi, Luke realizes about Darth Vader. He does everything he can because he sees the spark of good in Vader and tries to save him, even to the risk of putting his own life at risk with the Emperor. So to say, okay, well, this is how his character was personified in the first few movies. But you know what? I'm going to totally blow that away, and I'm just going to say he saw that he was bad, so he thought he had to kill him. That doesn't make sense. Are you going to say that to say that Ben was more powerful than Vader? I guess you could go that route, but it just doesn't connect with me. And that's the problem, is the connections of where the characters from the first original movies to this movie, and even from Force Awakens to this movie, there's so many disconnects, it just doesn't make sense. Alright, so let's go into my like I said, my fears for Abram is, okay, he's stuck with what Rian Johnson thought as his vision. So it's not like in the next movie, Abrams going to say, oh, well, Luke comes back. No, we saw him poof as an aberration, which still doesn't make sense to me, guys. So he was a ghost from a different distance. Okay, well, Rey and Kylo Ren have been mind melded and been perfectly fine the whole time. So Luke is way more powerful, but yet he is straining to survive this whole bout with Kylo Ren. And again, I just have a problem with the way that they did the lightsaber battle at the end. I mean, I wanted to love the way that Luke slid underneath his lightsaber and all that as a ghost. I didn't really realize it until 2 seconds later. And there was hints that it was a ghost because of, like the salt. He didn't actually interact with the salt, but yet Kylo Ren did, and things like that. But the fact that, he just, like, at the end, just disappeared. But I don't quite understand that. I mean, Yoda lifted the next wing, and he didn't get observed. Now, I guess you could say that was a little bit different, but Obi-Wan was a ghost, and he's an aberration, and so that's just, again, another disconnect that I didn't understand. Okay, let's break down the characters. Alright, like I said, Luke is not the Luke we know. Obvious disconnect there. You can change the direction of a character somewhat, to a degree, but you can't change the mold. Basically, Rian Johnson said, you know what, I don't like anything that George Lucas said about Luke, so I'm just going to change his character altogether. It doesn't connect to me. And like I said, the whole idea about Ben seeing bad and, Luke seeing bad in Ben and killing him, or causing, Ben to wake up and thinking that Luke's going to kill him, so he's going to turn bad. That's not Luke. And you're basically going to tell me that Ben wouldn't have said, hey, what's going on? Why are you trying to kill me? And just would have snapped instantly. It, again, doesn't connect. Leia, okay. The people that love the movie have a problem with this. So, the whole, I'm going to use the Force to get back to the ship. And, when she was changing colors in space, and again, in that scene, there's no gravity. But when the bombers are being released on the Imperial ship, there's gravity. So we're talking like one scene, so there's gravity in one scene, there's no gravity in the next, because she's just out there in the middle of nowhere until she puts out her hand and starts floating. So that, again, another disconnect. It's just like things weren't thought out. Like, we weren't just, kind of like a cartoon. You're not supposed to think about it. It's just a movie. Well, no, I'm sorry, but people think about what's logical and what's not in the realm of what we know of a movie or what we know of space or that kind of thing. So that's to me kind of one of those. I mean, yes, even all movies have some parts that are, okay, that's unbelievable, but most try to do their homework and try to say, okay, is this past the line? Am I going too far? I actually thought she did a little better acting than she did Force Awakens, but I still didn't really connect with her very much. All right, briefly, her second in charge. I can't think of her name right now. Purple-haired lady. Big disconnect for me. It didn't. I didn't feel anything with her. I thought the acting was pretty bad. And I'm sorry, but okay, we're gonna use the hyperdrive and not hyperdrive. Sorry. We're gonna go into space, and we're gonna blow through the Imperial ship. Okay, well, that's never been done before. Why? Because I don't know. So, I mean, yeah, was it kind of cool? Yes, it was cool, but it was one of those things where it's never been done before. But I mean, it wasn't an ending for me. It just took me out of the moment for a set moment there, but it wasn't one of the big ones where I was like, okay, well, there's another one. It was just a minor where it took me out of the movie for about 30 seconds. Like I said, the big one when Leia used the Force to get back, that was just, I'm like, this is Matrix. I'm sorry, any fans of Matrix, but no movie should try to do Matrix. Matrix is Matrix. Matrix stays with Matrix. It doesn't belong in any other movie. Any movie that does... I'm just not a fan of the... Let's slow down all the action so we can see all this little slow movement. And somehow that's supposed to be cooler. But, I mean, it was cool in Matrix, but that's because it's designed for that movie. Alright, let's see here. What else do we have to talk about? So when she's not just the fact that she's flying back from space, but the fact that Leia in every Star Wars movie, we've never seen her ever use the Force before, never. And now all of a sudden she's supposed to be the elite, powerful. I mean, okay, hello. Let's think of somebody that's supposed to be really powerful, second to Yoda. And couldn't save himself by just putting out his hand and coming back through a window. Yeah, he lost one hand, but anybody remember Mace Windu in Revenge of the Sith? Why didn't he just float back? Another disconnect? I think so. But you can either disagree or agree. Alright, so that was another one that for Leia there. Kylo Ren. Again, briefly, the mind melding, we just kind of threw that in so we could keep the plot going while we had subplots. And all of a sudden, we're going to just have him have a rage of fit in the very beginning of the movie and bust up his mask so then he doesn't wear a mask. Is that so the ladies can see his face? I don't know. That's another disconnect. Were you trying to say, well, I don't want to be Vader? The whole time in Force Awakens, I didn't feel like, okay, well, this is a mask just like Vader. It was different. It was like the new elite mask. It worked. But when you took it off and smashed it, and to say he wouldn't have a backup to put on, it didn't connect. And I understand the mind melding thing. You lose symbolism if you have him with a mask on his face and talking to Rey that way. It wouldn't have worked. So I understand that, but that whole thing just disconnected. The scene without a shirt, really? Did we need that? And again, forced joke with Rey saying, can you put something on? I mean, it's just another disconnect. And to honestly, at that exact moment, I thought, okay, so now we're comparing this to Titanic with Leonard DiCaprio. I mean, that's how they got people to go see, all of the young girls to go see Titanic, so we need all the teens to go see him because he's got his shirt off. Now, and before you say, okay, now you're nitpicking because Anakin had his shirt off in Revenge of the Sith. Well, yes. But guys and gals, let's keep in mind, they're married. So I'm okay with that. And they're not melding. So it didn't make sense for him to be without his shirt. It's like, okay, well, it's time for our 9 o'clock conversation. It didn't make sense. Rey, I never really connected with her. I didn't feel any emotional connection with her. And what was with the dark abyss that she went to? Again, another Matrix moment. Let's have a mirror of 30 rays, or what? It wasn't 30, but multiple rays. It just felt too Matrixy, and we kind of slowed down the motion. And it kind of felt like they were trying to go like Interstellar, kind of. And it just, again, doesn't belong in a Star Wars movie. Maz, I wanted more. I thought that was actually, honestly, that was one of probably like the second coolest part in the whole movie. I was cheering when she was back on the screen. I was like, I actually thought we were going to go see her, but I liked that fact where, like, oh, Maz is busy in the middle of a war, so we can't talk to her. We got to go find somebody else. And then Rose. Never really connected with her. I honestly felt like this was a PR moment. We needed to make it PC kind of thing. And I guess I was okay with the whole Finn with Finn and Rose being in love, but I don't know, it just didn't really connect with me. And I know you guys are gonna say, wait, Anakin and Padme, when they first met in Phantom Menace, they instantly fell in love. Okay, well, I'll give you that. So that's why I'm not saying that it was a huge it was a disconnect for me, but it's not one that took me way out of the movie, because I did think about that. But, and see, the problem was, these were all things that were going on in my mind during the movie. And I shouldn't have to be doing that. I should be enjoying the movie. I shouldn't be having to try to rationalize one thing or another. That's where, if a movie makes me have to rationalize why a director went this way during a movie, it ruins the whole movie experience. And, I mean, I can't imagine that's what a director would want. I mean, I read some reviews some of the comments from the director, and one of the places he was super worried about the humor. He said that it might not fit. And the one theater that he was in, people started laughing. Well, okay, there was a part in the beginning that I laughed at, but then 30 seconds later there was humor that I couldn't find funny. It felt like it was forced. Yoda did not work for me at all. I'm sorry. I thought the CGI was way off, or the Muppeting sound. There was honestly one line I couldn't even understand what he said. So that just didn't connect with me. And the DJ, Benicio del Toro. So Rose and Finn had to find the master codebreaker, right? But all these things are happening, and really quickly, the casino scene, bad editing, didn't need to be in there. Doesn't make any sense. It was just, it slowed it down, and it didn't work. So that they're trying to get this code breaker. They're being caught, and so they can't see the code breaker. Okay, well, it kind of felt like, so then they get thrown in jail, and there happens to be some guy in jail who happens to be a code breaker. And it just felt like the director decided, okay, I don't like where this is going, so let me add a sub-story here of they're getting caught, and there'll be some guy, I don't know who he is yet, but some random guy will be in jail, and he'll just randomly have some keys and get out of jail, and they'll accept him instantly just because he opened a door. I don't know. Anybody else feel like this was a missed cameo moment? I wanted to see Lando at the casino. I thought that would be, honestly, guys, that would have been right back in the movie. And honestly, I think this movie would have been awesome. The problem with all the main characters being dead, if you would have put Lando in there, at least we could have said, okay, well, there's one main character, because I guarantee you, I have a feeling in 9 the Codemaster is going to come back, because there's no way he's not going to get another role in the next major movie. All right, so I just felt like that was a missed cameo moment, and it would have done a lot for the movie. Pros, the music, John Williams. I mean, what can you say? It's always great. Great scroll to set up the movie. I like the creatures. I thought they were cool. I did like the X-Wings. The trailer, it threw you off with the trailer when the X-Wings were coming into the salt area. I thought that was like a smoke that they were putting behind their X-Wings, but when it found out, or not even, they weren't even X-Wings. I don't remember what the ship was called. I'm sorry. I've stayed away from all the new articles and everything, reading up to know about all the Last Jedi, because I didn't want to ruin anything for the movie. So anyway, when they kind of like surfed on there on the salt and it turned it red, that was pretty cool. And that was our first hint that, when you interacted with the salt, it would turn red. And that kind of led to, you knowing, you're supposed to know that Luke is a ghost. And then, I mean, it worked for me when at the end he winks at him and says, "I'll see you later." Which again leads us up to he'll be a ghost in the next movie. So we still do get Luke, but not. I don't think it's going to be very extremely heavy in the movie because he'll be a ghost. I mean, I'm just going back to all the movies, Star Wars, Empire, Return, Phantom, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Force Awakens. You could throw Rogue One there, even though it's not canon. But anyway, all the movies, there's the ghost spirits of the entities, of the people. They don't come into the movies very often, so I don't feel like we're going to see Luke that much. So that just kind of is another disconnect for me. I don't know, the ending of the movie. I mean, I liked the little boy. He was from I think he was from the beginning where he was at the casino when he helped him. I think, or it was another boy. I'm not quite sure. Like I said, I only saw this once, but I'm not going to go see it again. Almost to the point of I'm pretty sure I'm not actually going to even buy it. I might see it again if when it comes free streaming or something to that effect. When I can see it for free, I would see it probably once more just to see if anything pops out. But honestly, guys, I just feel like it's going to put me right back where I was on Saturday, and I don't actually want to be back in that. Don't want to feel that way again. And so another pro, I got to hang out with Star Wars fans. I mean, that's why we go see the movies. So that that in itself is cool, but that has nothing to do with them. The movie brings us all there, but we had to get there, so it's not solely the movie that did it. Okay, I'm sorry this is going to be a little longer. The cons. Forced jokes. So many subplots with the main story, it just got mixed up. Matrix moments. Again, we've covered it. Doesn't belong in a Star Wars movie. Too many disconnects. Bad acting, script. Let's see. And the Luke's death, it just doesn't make sense to me, guys. And again, the fact that Luke somehow made Ben be bad because of one bad decision, and they wouldn't have even, fought it out and then discussed it and come back. It just doesn't make sense. Even the Siths, when they fight out whatever the problem is, and sometimes, yes, they'll kill each other, but there's at least some dialogue. Rey, really? Nobody's parents? That was totally set up in The Force Awakens. She had a dream about her parents leaving her on Jakku. It all led up to this issue. Really? So we're going to take all that. So basically, if she's a nobody and she had this dream that you concentrated on and focused on in Force Awakens, but that doesn't matter in this movie at all, and she's a nobody. That just, another disconnect. It doesn't make sense. Um, and Luke's lightsaber called to her. Now, I do know, because we learned in Phantom Menace with Qui-Gon Jinn talking to, sorry, I can't think of her name off the top of my head. Shame on me. Talking to Anakin's mother, and he said if Anakin had been in the Republic, they would have detected him earlier on. So I know that's a fact, that she could have powers that no one knows and be a nobody. But it just, we had so much lead up in Force Awakens, and it's just, there was so much of it. It honestly feels like, to me, Ray Johnson just said, you know what, I don't like anything in Force Awakens, and you know what, I'm just gonna trash everything he did and make my own movie, and he can deal with it in the next movie. I'm gonna get paid, so what? So, I mean, again, maybe that's me being too hard, but it's just the way I feel. Yoda, again, just odd. And Snoke's, there was no backstory, and I mean, I liked how it happened, but it just kind of like was a big letdown. Like, he's supposed to be this all big, powerful, and I understand the trick, but there was no like dialogue of anything of telling you about his backstory. And we didn't see anything about the Knights of Ren. You know, and there was a whole theory of Rey was in the temple with him, and to say she's a nobody, but she has a connection to, I mean, I understand the connection to Force, and that's everybody, you know, that happened before in prior ones, but the fact that she's so strong in the Force, and she's got nobody related to her that has anything with Force, she's, you know, a gambler and a drunk, are her parents. And I've heard a rumor that maybe the Codemaster is her father now. But honestly, I mean, I don't really care who Rey's father is at this point. Because, okay, if you're not going to say that she's not somewhere in the past as her lineage, then it doesn't really... That's the problem, is the next movie, if Abrams were to say, okay, this is her father, I'd be like, okay, and this is her mother, I don't really care. I mean, I fear for where he can direct the next movie. He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, and a lot of unfair weight, I think. So, again, guys, I wanted to love this movie. I left with a lot of sadness in my heart, and just the fear of Disney ruining the movie. It just, I mean, of the franchise, it's starting to set in. I'm gonna keep my hopes high for 9. I definitely totally stoked for Solo. I think it's totally gonna be amazing with Ron Howard. He's an awesome director. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, go ahead and leave me what you think in comments. You know, like I said, family friendly channel, so please keep it civil. Likes, comments. You know, I know there's going to be a lot of dislikes on this video, so, you know, I debated, and I wasn't going to, that was actually holding me back a little bit on my decision if I should do a reaction video or not, but I'm hoping that, I mean, like I said, when I saw all the reviews, and I know there's got to be other people that feel the same way I do, it really is 50-50, guys, on these reviews. And the fact that, I mean, if you look at Rotten Tomato, critics give it a 96, and again, guys, critics are paid people to watch movies, and they're paid by the franchises, so they're not going to give bad reviews. Then you look at the audience, it got a 58, so from a 90 to a 58. If you look at all the other movies, it's about the same. Okay, so really quickly, one more thing I wanted to do. If I'm going to put them in order, I'll go from like to dislike. So, like is obviously on the top. So, Star Wars is number 1. Return of the Jedi is number 2. Force Awakens is number 3. Empire. I think I got about these all right. I hope I did. Phantom Menace. Or, sorry, not Phantom. Sorry. Revenge of the Sith was next. Attack of the Clones. Phantom Menace. And then we have Last Jedi. I'm not adding the Rogue One in there but if I did, it would be above. It would be tied with the Attack of the Clones. So hopefully I got that right. I'll put it in comments again because I'm not sure if I did that correctly, but hopefully I did for you guys. So anyway, go see the movie for yourself. Let me know what you think. I'd be interested to know. But like I said, I just need to do this for myself, and I hope at least this will give you'll be open-minded to what I think or what I have told you, and maybe you'll see some points where you can say, yeah, I see that, or even if you disagree, at least if it will get you thinking of why you disagree. That's really kind of my goal is, okay, maybe you don't agree with me, but can you at least come up in your head with why you disagree with that? Or yes, you do agree. That way too. So, all right, guys. No more talking, prolonging this video any longer. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to my review on The Last Jedi. Take care of yourselves and your families. Like, comment, subscribe. Take that survey if you have not. Again, there will be a Steam giveaway on the 24th. And I'll be doing a live stream on that, so keep an eye out for that. And who knows, you might win a free game. All right, guys, take care. May the Force be with you. Bye, guys.